$1,000 questions have no timepiece on me. Is that clock right?
It's correct.
It's 5:59 according to
Right.
this.
According to that? All right, well.
5:59.
Okay, well then, we will be good at 6. We'll wait 1 more minute, we'll start. I'd like to welcome all the dinosaurs tonight.
Good.
No, I have my at home.
When I time here at the wind.
No, that's, you have.
What?
Okay.
Just sit
6.
there.
The meeting will come to order.
You have a nice
Roll call, please.
Mr. Fry, President.
Here.
Mr. Bobo, Vice President.
Here.
Mrs. Lasich. Here. Mr. Olson.
Here.
Mr. Tanzer.
Here.
Here. Please rise and pledge to the flag. I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right. We have minutes from the June 18th, 2014 regular meeting. Are there any additions or corrections? All right. How about the minutes for the June 30th, 2014 special meeting? Are there any additions or corrections? And the July 9th, 2014 special meeting, are there any additions or corrections? All right. Being none, do I have a motion to accept the minutes?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Discussion? Being none, roll call, please.
Mr. Bobo.
Yes.
Mrs. Lasich. Yes. Mr. Olson.
Yes.
Mr. Tanzer.
Yes.
Mr. Fry.
Yes. That brings us down to the treasurer's report.
And we will postpone this to the next meeting. Year-end closing, still working on it.
Okay.
Been a little busy in the central office.
Boy, that's a first.
Well, you're a little busy in the central office, right?
I don't think you've ever postponed that, have
I
you?
think it's the first that we've had 4 contracts to negotiate in a relatively short period.
I'm
Do you have a lot of trouble? I mean,
No.
okay, well,
He's on a roll.
A lot of conversation, a lot of good to have.
your face is really...
All right, that's,
Sorry.
we have a recognition of speech and debate students. Mr. Tanzer.
boy.
Aren't you glad you took over that job?
37 of them.
Originals. We have one of the original resolutions.
Yeah, right here.
Yeah, Nancy sent it.
I'll sign it for you.
As we go.
Canfield Local Board of Education Resolution Number 1, 2015 through 37, 2015. Whereas Zach Zamery placed 3rd in Ohio in impromptu at the state speech and debate and qualified for the Grand Nationals, whereas Stephen Gant placed top 8 in Ohio in public forum in state and debate tournament and placed in the top 32 in the nation at the NSDA Nationals, whereas Malik Salih placed in the top 8 in a public forum debate and placed top 32 in the nation NSDA, whereas Megan Factor placed in the top 12 in Ohio in Oracle interpretation in 2014 OSSLA State Speech and Debate Tournament, whereas Maya Battaglia placed in the top 12 in Ohio in Oracle interpretation, whereas Richie Abel placed top 12 in Ohio in international exempt speech and debate and was top 48 in the nation in NCFL Grand Nationals, whereas Angela Pepino placed in the top 12 in Ohio in impromptu speech and debate, whereas Jonathan Palermo placed in the top 18 in Ohio in Student Congress at state speech and debate, whereas Lennon Sakala placed in the top 24 in Ohio in humor in speech and debate. Emily D'Amelio placed top 24 in drama in speech and debate. Arjun Subramaniam.
Is that good?
Close.
Nobody does?
No.
Close. Until now.
Placed top 24 in Ohio, United States exempt and speech and debate, and qualified for the Grand Nationals and placed top 60 in the nation at NSDA Nationals. Cameron Morris placed top 24 in Ohio in international extemp and qualified for nationals. Alec Kahn placed top 24 in Ohio in international extemp and speech and debate and qualified for nationals. Lindsay Stevens placed in the top 24 in Ohio in prose and poetry reading. Samantha Armstrong placed top 24 in the same and qualified for Grand Nationals. Richie Jenkins placed 24 in duo at Ohio's speech and debate tournament. Zach Davison placed in the top 24 in the same. Bishoy Anwar placed top 24 in impromptu in the state tournament. Julie Gemmel qualified to participate in the 2014 state debate tournament and nationals. Ryan Atway qualified to participate in state speech and nationals. Kareem Solomon qualified to participate in state speech, debate, and nationals. Will Brown qualified to participate in state debate and nationals. Michael Stefanik qualified to participate in state and nationals. Dominique Favre qualified to participate in state speech, debate, and grand nationals. Christopher Haley qualified to participate in state speech and debate tournament. Paige Brookley qualified to participate in state speech and debate tournament. Jack Cross qualified to participate in state speech and debate tournament. Samantha Fritz qualified to participate in state speech and debate. It's real hard with Mrs. Kessner down here laughing at me.
She's just
We're down
enjoying
here
it.
laughing too.
It's a team effort.
Isaiah McKenna-Cullen qualified to participate in state speech and debate. Rosie Brushin qualified to participate in state speech and debate. Sarah Lytle qualified to participate in state speech and debate. Erica Svensson qualified to participate in state speech and debate. Lindsay Heldereth, Kevin Mann, Billy Quirk, Mariah Stratus, and Jacob Duda all qualified to participate in state speech and debate. Whereas these accomplishments have brought honor to themselves, their family, and their school, therefore be it resolved that all of these names I have just read be commended for their outstanding accomplishment, and resolutions be spread upon the official minutes of the Canfield Board of Education, and that copies of this be presented to them. I'd like to make a motion for Canfield Local Board of Education Resolutions 1, 2015 through 37, 2015.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Discussion? Being none, roll call, please.
Mr. Bova?
Yes.
Mrs. Lasik?
Yes.
Mr. Olson?
Yes.
Mr. Tansey?
Yes.
Mr. Pratt?
Yes. And we're very thankful for Mr. Tanser putting himself on the line like that. Okay, Mr. Trump.
Yeah, thank you very much. Well, we have Leslie here tonight. And Leslie, years of touching many students at Canfield High School. And we're lucky enough to have Mr. Tullio here. And maybe we can let him say a few words, get him involved in the board meeting tonight, and have him mention maybe a couple highlights, special moments. And Leslie, we're going to come to you too. Maybe you have a special moment or two you'd like to share with us as well.
As far as highlights, I could say in the past 7 years that I was at the high school, not one time did Leslie Butler send a student to the office to be disciplined. And I think that it is just...
Crazy eyes.
I can tell you,
Scared them.
not too many teachers could say that they handled everything in their classroom. The kids enjoyed being in their classroom. I can stand here, if I could recall kids' names, I could tell you students coming back saying what a great time they had in Mrs. Butler's classroom. She had handled our Honors 9 classes for us. We never had a problem moving on in Honors 10. It was a real pleasure to work with Leslie. Every day she was there, she smiled, and you knew the kids were where they're supposed to be, and they were in exceptional hands.
Leslie, on behalf of the Board of Education and administrative team, we want to thank you for your years of service. Not only educating kids with the instruction, but also, just like Mr. Tullio said, so much mentoring I'm sure you did through the years. Worked with youngsters. Again, we talk about standards. These days we talk about Common Core. And that's a job of a teacher. But another job of a teacher is to deal with family, to deal with the issues that a youngster brings to school with them. And for the dedication that you had, for the professionalism you brought to school every day, thank you, and we have something more.
And thanks for being a good
Stay
neighbor,
up there.
too.
Stay.
Thanks for being a good neighbor, too.
Take a
She
picture.
deserves to be in the paper.
No, let her go.
Last time you got the person's ankles, don't worry about it. It's okay. Okay.
I want to say, as a parent of daughters who had her, that she's still mentoring my 30-year-old daughter. She edits her blog and reads it and comments on it, and it's because of you partly that she loves to write and loves English, and thank you.
Like to say anything?
Well, I didn't think I was going to cry. I loved my career. I remember when I moved into Canfield 37 years ago, I worked for another school system, but I would drive by this building and I'd say, that's where I want to work. That's where I want to work one day. And it's just been a wonderful, wonderful experience. And
Did you ever work in this building?
yeah, I did actually. I did. I worked, when I started I was part-time high school, part-time middle school. So I taught 8th grade here for a couple years, and then I was 9th and 10th over, and 11th over at the high school. So, but I did. I loved it.
Wonderful. Well, thank you again.
And then she moved into the neighborhood. Okay, you guys can go to Inner Circle now if you'd like.
Okay.
Feel free to send something back.
Yeah, if you want to.
You're always with that food now.
It is, you're paying for
Think
it.
again.
Take care.
No comment.
All right, new business.
Yes, thank you. I'd like to recommend personnel approve the substitutes at your exhibit number 1, A, B, and C. Kelly Jarina, Albert McCara, and Marie Schilling. Again, Kelly is a licensed employee, and 2 classified substitute recommendations are as follows.
Based on the recommendation of the superintendent, do I have a motion to approve the substitutes in exhibits 1?
So moved.
Have a second?
Second.
Discussion? Being none, roll call, please.
Mr. Bova?
Yes.
Mrs. Lasich?
Yes.
Mr. Olson?
Yes.
Mr. Tanzer?
Yes.
Mr. Fry?
Yes.
We'll move to the addendum that we handed you, and we apologize, it was last minute here, but we just received this by hand. Recommend to approve the resignation of June Barnes, elementary aide, effective 2014-15 school year. That's your exhibit number 5.
Based on the recommendation of the superintendent, do I have a motion to accept the resignation of June Barnes?
So moved.
Have a second?
Second.
Second. She's a wonderful lady. She really was. She was a wonderful, wonderful lady. She still is a wonderful lady. But she was a wonderful lady for those little kids. She was just great. So, any other comments? Being none, roll call, please.
Mr. Bova?
Yes.
Mrs. Lasich?
Yes.
Mr. Olson?
Yes.
Mr. Tanzer?
Yes.
Mr.
Right.
Fry?
Yes.
Excuse me, I'd like to recommend hiring to extracurricular activities. That's your exhibit number 2. And these are different from the other dates as we had extracurricular activities because now these individuals have their correct licensures and certifications in hand. JV basketball coach Bob Tinke, step 2 plus years at 5153. Assistant speech and debate, .74 time, Megan Shively, less than 2 years experience at 1525. Non-licensed extracurricular activities, Assistant speech and debate, .45 is Jacob Schreiner Briggs at $927. Another assistant speech and debate at .67, Caitlin Beckett at $1381. Two more assistant speech and debates, one at .40 time, Terry Fleming at 8:24 and .74 time, Tim Nesnadol at 15:25. Volunteer speech and debate, Carol Boger. Football volunteer, Robert Lytle. Girls tennis volunteer, Jerry Cannon. And 7th grade girls basketball, Lindsay Franceschelli.
Based on, oh, sorry, go ahead.
At 3092.
Okay. Based on the superintendent's recommendation, do I have a motion to accept the hiring of the following extracurricular positions?
So moved. Second.
Second. Discussion?
Question is, there is no difference according to this schedule between licensed and non-licensed in terms of pay?
No, that's correct.
Okay.
That's correct.
It's based on experience.
You have less than 2 years or more than.
Yeah.
Whether you're licensed or non-licensed?
That's correct.
Okay, thank you.
Any other discussion? Being none, roll call, please.
Mr. Bova?
Yes.
Mrs. Lasich?
Yes.
Mr. Olson?
Yes.
Mr. Tanzer? Mr. Frye?
Yes.
At this time, we're asking for an appointment of a delegate and an alternate to OSBA annual business meeting to be held November 10th, 2014.
Who usually goes to that? Okay.
Mr. Olson has gone in the past.
I will most likely go down on Sunday and come back on Tuesday night like I've done, and this meeting is Monday morning, I believe.
Okay.
I'd be happy to do that.
Excellent.
Mr. Cancer, maybe you might want to be an alternate. You said you've gone down before. So
I went all 4 years when I was on before.
you wanted to be an alternate.
Is that okay?
Yeah.
All right. Do I have a motion to appoint Mr. Olson and Mr. Tanzer as the delegate and alternate to the OSBA annual business meeting?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Discussion? Clerk, would you call it? I mean the clerk. Jeez, roll call, please. I'm back.
Wrong one.
I'm across the street again, sorry.
Mr. Bova?
Yes.
Mrs. Lasich?
Yes.
Mr. Olson?
Yes.
Mr. Tanzer?
Yes.
Mr. Frye?
Yes, I thought I'd get through a whole meeting without doing that. I didn't.
Recommending
I'm
approval
so
of fixed
sorry.
asset threshold for 14-15 as per policy and guidelines is $74.55, $2,500 for financial statement reporting, and $500 for control and accountability.
Do I have a motion based on the superintendent's recommendation to approve fixed asset threshold for 2014-2015 as per policy and guidelines 7455?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Discussion?
What exactly is that?
What do you mean? What does that mean?
Yeah.
Anything over $500, we tag and keep track of. But as far as financial statement reporting, the threshold's $2,500, so we only,
This is a fixed asset here.
anything that costs more than $2,500.
I mean, like all that stuff you tagged in my office one time, it was mine.
Oh.
You mean, do you put those tags on? That was
Well,
sorry.
we don't do it like that anymore, but,
I know.
no, I think a company came out and
Yeah.
inventoried, and they're not aware of personal items. We do this right at the time we purchase items now. If it's over 500, a tag goes out.
The athletic director, I saw many of those tags. Yes.
Do you put those on all the computers so that they can't be taken off?
The majority of computers, honestly, are less than $500 each, but if they are more, yes, we do.
Hey, we're in the, just for clarification, we are in the 14-15 school year, but we are in fiscal 15 since it's past July 1st, is that correct? Okay.
Any further discussion? Being none? No, did we have a motion yet? Okay. Roll call, please.
Mr. Bova?
Yes.
Mrs. Lasich?
Yes.
Mr. Olson?
Yes.
Mr. Tanzer?
Yes.
Mr. Frye?
Yes.
I'd like to recommend the approval of a negotiated agreement between the Canfield Board of Education and the OPSI Union, July 1, 2014 through June 30, 2017. That was your exhibit number 3.
Nothing to it, huh? Easy peasy, wasn't it? Easy. All right.
Definitely.
Based on the recommendation of the superintendent, do I have a motion to approve the negotiated agreement between the Board of Education and OPSI?
So moved.
Second.
All right, any discussion? Being none, roll call, please.
Mr. Bova?
Yes.
Mrs. Lasich?
Yes.
Mr. Olson?
Yes.
Mr. Tanzer?
Yes.
Mr. Fry?
Yes.
Again, just like with our CEA union, I'd like to commend all of the negotiating team on professionalism and work ethic and coming together and getting a solid agreement that's in front of you today. So commend all those folks. I'd like to recommend the approval of the donation as per your enclosed list. That's your number 4.
Based on the recommendation of the superintendent, do I have a motion to accept the donations as enclosed list exhibit number 4?
So moved.
Have a second?
Second.
Discussion? Being none, roll call, please.
Mr. Bova?
Yes.
Mrs. Lasich?
Yes.
Mr. Olson?
Yes.
Mr. Tanzer?
Yes.
Mr. Fry?
Yes.
Hey, out of curiosity, do you have any idea how we're doing on the auditorium sound system fund in general right now?
I couldn't give you a figure, but was not as good as we had hoped, I think, at this point. But money's still coming in, they're still working on it, and I believe the Till Open is
Yeah.
gonna maybe donate toward that. So
Good.
we're still working on it.
Okay.
Reggie's still working on it.
Yeah. Also wanted to point out, for so many years, C.H. Campbell needed some new gym curtains. And the PTO stepped forward at $9,300 of the $16,000 plus was dedicated for that. So want to, again, commend all those parents, grandparents, friends of Canfield. Just appreciate that. Superintendent report, just wanted to highlight one item. We had a special meeting the other day and highlighted several things going on in the district, and I told you I'd let you know when the weight room finally had a phone system. It's up and running finally at the high school. The alarm system and PA system is next. That's being worked on as we speak. So just want to let you folks know. Mr. Tullio, did you want to touch on anything else? Did I?
No, I think the weight room was a major accomplishment.
Yeah.
So, how are we coming with the baseball, softball? Where are we?
We would like to maybe talk about that later on. I would like to recommend an executive session.
All right, that's fine.
But other than that, that's all I have.
What would be the...
Negotiations.
All right. Based on the superintendent's recommendation, do I have a recommendation to move into executive session to discuss negotiations?
So moved.
Second. All right. Discussion? Being none, roll call, please.
Mr. Bova?
Yes.
Mrs. Lasich?
Yes.
Mr. Olson?
Yes.
Mr. Tanzer?
Yes.
Mr. Fry?
Yes. Thank you, unless you want to wait.
No chance.